This is the land of Jusenkyo, a cursed training ground, host to over 100 tainted springs. Each spring carries with it a curse, that whomever basks in its waters takes the form of the creature that drowned there thousands of years ago. Though Jusenkyo is a dangerous place, curiosity has transformed it into somewhat of a tourist attraction, luring martial artists and sightseers alike. It developed a reputation, and hence, a hierarchy had to be established. Dignitaries needed to be appointed to oversee the bizarre occurrences at Jusenkyo, and create a system of standards and practices. The secret Jusenkyo Preservation Society was formed to make sure that any cursed individual caught abusing their powers he or she may have acquired would be penalized to the full extent of the law. 5 main offenders come to mind. Wanted, Ranma for shameless exhibition. Wanted, Genma for human endangerment. Wanted, Ryoga Hibiki for voyeurism and perverse stalking. Wanted, Shampoo for coercion through fear. And last but not least, Wanted, Moose for attempted murder. The committee would need a powerhouse to wrangle this quintet. They found one, and he only goes by one name: Kinney. This M. Bison-looking musclehead is a freelance killer, the hired muscle of the secret Jusenkyo Preservation Society. Kinney carries with him at all times an amazingly massive sword which he swings around with screaming rage and pinpoint accuracy. Himself a student of the ancient Chinese discipline, the cult of the muscle sword. Kinney's sword to him is an extension of his body. To him, moving his sword is as second nature as moving a finger or blinking an eye, and he is capable of terrifying, highly destructible techniques. His favorite attack is to spin his enormous sword over his head, cutting and slicing everything in his path, and creating a radius of instant dismemberment for anyone who dare draw near. The centrifugal force of the spin creates a funnel of baneful winds, the resultant symphony of ruination Kinney likes to call the Earthquake Breakdance. An attack so powerful, it's said that the Great Wall of China itself would crumble before its wrath. The wind of the spinning blade can even act as a helicopter, taking Kinney skyward, allowing him to deliver death from above. How could anyone step up to this man? How could anyone get close to this whirling dervish of slicing death? How can anyone fend off a murderous rampage by this man? This gigantic specimen, tall enough to block out the sun, and with muscles on top of muscles. How could a 16-year-old kid like Ranma defeat an opponent like this? Pretty easily, actually. Granted, he'd take advantage of Kinney's one true weakness. Ironically, he who is so against the many victims of Jusenkyo can be labeled among them. Kinney actually took a plunge into the cursed spring of Fushan Ichuan, or the spring of drowned priest. According to legend, 999 years ago, a young priest fell in the spring and drowned. Now, whenever he is splashed with cold water, he becomes a skinny, cowardly, and very prissy young priest. All of his attacks are negated in this form. In fact, he becomes so small, he can barely carry his oversized sword. Not that he would ever want to fight. Becoming a priest, Kinney adopts a completely different mindset, wishing nothing but peace, goodwill, and non-violence. He knows nothing of the despicable things he does in his other form, and when he learns of them, he is deeply apologetic and can do little but cower and sulk about it. Perhaps his biggest 180 is his philosophy towards trees. Kinney's priest form is all about saving the forests and protecting the trees, as opposed to his true form's arboreal genocide. Kinney, the walking contradiction. Kind of a baffling coincidence, isn't it? That he who cares so little for the earth and its wonders, and would slash and burn a forest upon sight, would find a spring like Fushan Ichuan to do a complete reverse on his outlook. It's almost as if the earth itself struck back, turning Kinney into its own natural creation. while his true form is like a natural disaster, remorselessly killing and rending all in its path. His cursed form is like a correction, a slow healing process like that of the very earth we live on. Kenny is a bizarre accident of nature, and as with nature itself, he ebbs and flows. Ebbs and flows. Ebbs and flows. This has been a Ranma 1/2 character profile.